Hear that music? Got a little
No.
intro going. You might
You
not
hear
hear
it?
it. Oh, we're kicking it off right here. See, I got the music. I wonder if it gets recorded. Sounds
We
kind of
can.
nice.
We'll see.
All right.
Well,
Enough of that. We're back. Three guys, many games. Pro League Edition. Week 3 on the horizon. Big week. I'm here with Vin, the GOAT, Sombrado, and Rob, Levittown Heels, Smalley.
got to bring Levittown in. I love it. He's got to bring the heart and soul of the groundhog.
Well, we had
I
a fan,
love it.
just so you know, they were trying to understand your behavior, and there was one fan out there that made a comment and said, "Oh, they figured out he's from Levittown." That's actually what
know.
actually was said. So
They
what
They
is
grew up.
what is
They,
it with this Levittown? Everybody talks about this Levittown.
well, they grew up eating yodels and cupcakes. They bought papers. You know, our fathers would come to the games in t-shirts with their cigarettes rolled up like this. Why those
Okay.
fucking those? I won't say the F word. Why those guys were getting off the train from Manhasset with suits on while we were
Right.
playing the games at 4:00.
See, that's when lacrosse was lacrosse. Boy, what
Oh,
else
I
is
love
there
it. You're
to
right.
watch? You know, now now you're lucky the high school games, whether they're even
Yeah, exactly.
interesting enough to go. You know, when there was one division, when all the teams were competing to be the best team. Now you're A, you're B, you C, D, E, F, G. You know how many different champions? There's more champions than there are teams that compete in the league. It seems like.
You're
You
right,
know,
because we used to drive our bikes to the game. Now kids get driven. That's the difference between a kid today and a kid yesterday. We had bicycles. My chain would fall off. I'm playing a lacrosse game. I had all kinds of black shit on my hand. My chain would come
what
off.
kind of bicycle did you have? Did you have like a 10-speed or did you have like a banana
That was
seat?
in advance. I had a 10 speed, but it never went 10 speeds. It was like a 4 speed. My brother would use it. He'd float on the ground. It'd be cracked. We never, oh man, I tell you. I remember driving to Garden City to play baseball games. I mean, this is insane. I mean, that's why we're different there and we're different today. The kids are babied and cuddled, but it's you do it too. Vinny does it. I do it. We're not exempt from anything. We do these things. We're part of the society, except for Vinny, Mr. Glory Boy. He's never
Take it
indulged.
easy. Take it easy. We're in the first
I
5
don't want to
minutes and
pick
he's
on
up
Vinny.
on
I
his
love him.
soapbox already. He's up on his soapbox. We're 5 minutes in. Frame the show, Stephen. Frame the
Well,
show.
we
What are we
started,
doing?
obviously, we went into a big week 2 of PLL. You know, we can't, number one story of the week, obviously, we got to bring it out. Denver comes all the way back against the Archers, the defending champs, and Brennan O'Neill goes berserko in the fourth quarter of that game, has 9 points, numerous goals, goes to overtime, scores the game winner in overtime, and it's again, it's like the media, the hyper reaction. I guess the question I'll pose to Vinny and to Rob is, once again, is it this sensational media culture where all of a sudden we're riding high and now it's it's the greatest thing in the world? It happened, it was a great game, but are we thinking too much into it and it's one game in one situation?
Well, I don't think it's one game in one situation for O'Neill. I think that he showed, not that he had to show it again. I mean, he showed what he can do in different venues over the years, starting from 8th grade. You know, he's an explosive player as there is. But, there's times he has quiet games, and that's part of the sport. You know, sometimes you get opportunities, sometimes you don't. But what he did the other day in that game, I'm going to tell you, I was watching the game. It was 14-7. They were struggling offensively, the Outlaws. At the end of the third quarter with 14-7, even though they have Weirman facing off, I really didn't think they could come back in that game. So I shut it off. I went downstairs for a little while. I came back up. I looked on the laptop to get the final and saw they won in overtime. I was shocked, and then I had to watch it, So I went on ESPN Plus to the replay, and I watched that fourth quarter. And that was about as good a quarter as I've ever seen any one individual play. Now, I'm not saying
Oh, Vinny, say that statement again. I'm sorry for
I
interrupting.
said as good a quarter as I've ever seen anybody play. Because, I mean, we know, and you always say it, Smalls, the World Games, he had the 5 in the World Games, but it was stretched over the length of the game. He did all of this. He had 1 point after 3 quarters. He got the rest of his points all in the fourth quarter, one after the other, it seemed. Wehrman kicked it off with that got them kick-started. He won a face-off, the first face-off of the fourth quarter, ran down and scored. From there, O'Neal caught fire. He hit that 2. He actually almost hit a 2 right before that. He just barely stepped on the line. He almost hit 2 in a row. But his talent is undeniable. When he shoots the ball, I was thinking about it today when I was doing my walk, and I've never seen anybody shoot the way he does in terms of how he brings his stick where it's upside down basically, and he can come over the top with it, and you don't know where it's going. I know the goalie don't know where it's going. He can go high with it. He can go low with it. Maybe he don't know where it's going. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that thing's moving, and he's picking spots. So the difference between his first game, where he had 1 and 1, he only had 5 shots. He had 15 shots the other day. I just looked at it. Maybe also something very impressive. He hasn't had a turnover in the 2 games. He's got 0 turnovers.
Just to touch on what you're saying there. So he got 15 shots. Well, as you know, just from positionally playing lacrosse, Logan Wisnauskas was out that game with a hamstring injury. O'Neal, instead of coming out of the box playing midfield, he goes on the attack. He's going to generate more shots. He's on the field the whole time, So
yeah, he's gonna get, look, whether he's playing midfield or attack, the point is the team, whatever team he's playing for, now he's with the Outlaws, they have to find ways to get this guy shots. It's the same when we were playing with Chris Massey, famous Princeton player, Garden City and Princeton player. Mass was tremendous. He was a high percentage shooter, and I used to say, you get this guy 5-6 shots a game, he's getting 3 goals. He shot 50% or better for his career. Now, O'Neal is not like Massey in terms of on cage all the time. We've seen his career through Duke. He can be erratic. He has times when he can't hit.
He will not get as many shots playing midfield
No,
as
of
he
course
does on the attack.
No, of course not. No.
And they won't even be, I don't think, as quality shots. But that I wanted to bring up the Wisnauskas thing because Sudo's got an interesting situation on his hands with the 2 lefties because they play a similar position. They're both left-handed attackmen. Do you play the 2 lefties with the right-handed feeder both on attack, or is Wisnauskas now the Wally Pip of Denver Outlaws?
I don't think he's going to be out. He's too good a player to put out. They're feeling Sudan, the coach of Denver, Sudo. He'll feel his way through that. He'll have to see. Look, it's nice to have depth. I mean, but I look at that Outlaws team who lost their first game and struggled a little, and then what they did in their second game, maybe that's the real side of them. Of course, Wehrman, the faceoff guy didn't play the first game. So now with him in the lineup, it's a different team too. But I will say this, when you got a guy who could shoot like O'Neal, and you got a guy who could shoot like that Graham Bundy, and you got a guy who could shoot like the guy Handley.
And Wisnauskas.
Yeah, and was that? You got guys who could sling it from everywhere. These are shooters. So obviously, you want to work for your best shot, but they're dangerous from 2. These guys, if they ever do get in deficit, they can hit from 2. So they can stretch. They can stretch a defense, which will make it easier to maybe make some inside plays. But that was an impressive win.
The only reason why I say are we in a rush to judgment is, like Vinny said, it was the fourth quarter. They were down 6.
7.
So, 7. They were down 14-7. So all of a sudden it clicked, it turned on. Do they go back to being down 14-7 in some of these games? Can they keep it rolling? What do you think, Small?
Well, it sounds like they're a big, strong team that they put it on them. You got that one kid from UPenn. You got him. You got Wisnauskas. I mean, you got guys, man. They're big, huge, and tough. I mean, bigger, faster, strong. I don't know. I mean, it's a fast game. The game is hard to judge. It really is. These guys catch fire. They get 5, 6 goals in a drop of pins. I don't even understand it. I mean, it's unbelievable what they're doing. Really, it's incredible. But on the other note, like Vinny was saying, this kid, like I told you before, he's still so young. They're all going to do good. But I think this kid, like I said, even though he didn't win one, this kid's a generational player. I don't think he gets the credit, because everybody's comparing him. They're bringing up the Gates and they're bringing up all these stars. He's not those players. But Jesus, the kid's only 22 years old. In 3 years, he'll make another world
You're
team.
the only one who brought them up. You're the only one bringing them up. Nobody's comparing them to the Gates. You like doing that.
No, I'm not. I did not compare him to the Gates. I'm saying what people.
But you just said everybody's comparing him. I don't hear anybody.
I'm saying he's better.
Yeah.
He is better than the Gates in one sense. May I make my case to the fans? He's a better shooter than the Gates. True or false? Just a pure shooter. I didn't say he's a better player. I didn't say he's a better shooter than the Gates. I say he is.
I don't know if I would say that, but I will say this. I thought one of the most incredible shots he made of the night was he had made a 2. I'm saying it was a 2. It counted as a 1 because his toe was on the line.
Right.
And literally 20 seconds later, he makes a 2. He makes a 2 and slips and falls as he's shooting it. He really is not even planting his feet, like Vinny's saying, like bringing that stick back. His feet are not even in the ground, and he shoots a 2 and whips it by the guy without his feet actually being set. 1 foot never goes into the ground. Shoot it off 1 foot. It was amazing. So I've never seen a guy with the strength. I mean, he definitely has the strength of the Gates, no question.
Well, look, strength-wise, I mean, look, he holds that stick like it's a teaspoon. And he's got tremendous wrist action and everything else. And I saw a interview, I think maybe with Paul Calcaterra, when he was shooting, and you hear the whip of that stick when he lets it go. It's scary. But when you talk, are we talking about hard shooters, fast shooters? Are we talking about? I would put, Paul and Gary. They were high percentage shooters. They could score a lot of goals, not on a lot of shots. You got to remember, I don't know Brendan O'Neill's history in terms of if he's ever played box lacrosse or not. I saw Paul and Gary put shots in on, coffee can shots. Although he's hitting on a 6x6, these guys could do it on a small cage too. So I think they were probably higher percentage shooters than he is. But clearly, like I said, the one distinction I see with him, I've seen a lot of guys play. I never saw a guy who could bring his stick back and put it almost to touching the ground upside down and then invert it and get a shot off going 100 miles an hour like he does. I've never seen that. I don't know how he passes the ball. He's got to have some kind of stringing that lets the ball sit on, when he does that. So I would think that would make it hard to throw accurate passes or fast passes if he's double.
Now thinking about that game strategically as he's getting hot, does Archers take some of the blame for not making adjustments during that, or was it just snowballing too fast? No timeout. Timeout to try to calm them down.
Definitely take blame. Definitely.
Well, how about just double teaming and saying, on these picks, we're not
try
going to
something. Correct.
We're not going to let him shoot it. If he's going off of a pick, just double team him and make him have to pass it.
Well, the Archers, defending champs, they're a potent high flying offense kind of team, but they do have flaws. They lost a lot of their defense, from what I understand. So they're just feeling their way out. That defense might get better too. But that's 2 weeks in a row. They got away that first week. They slipped by and won by a goal after having a big lead in that first game too, with the Water Dogs, I think, right? Yeah. And they end up winning that game by a goal. So there's something, second half with them that they have letdowns or whatever the case may be. Maybe teams figured them out a little bit offensively, so they're limiting their chances. But, they got the talent. What's great about this PLL and watching it, the talent level is really just off the charts. I mean, there's so many good players in it. And who gets hot in a certain game, everybody's capable. But you're right. To me, when O'Neal hit the first one that wasn't a 2, and then he came right back and hit the next 2, that was I don't remember them calling a timeout, but that was time. I would take a timeout there.
Yeah, timeout. Exactly.
This guy's on fire. Let's just not let him touch the ball. And if he comes off a pick, just double him. Let's see if he can make a play.
Right. The one that particularly seemed like, where they weren't, gravitating towards him was he's going down that right-hand side where he goes off of the pick and
Right.
then actually brings his stick to his left hand
Shifted
again
his hip.
and zips it up there. Like he should never get it to his left hand. I mean, how much are you getting off that pick where he actually was able to switch it back?
Yeah,
on his left
that's
hand?
way too much
Way too
time
much.
for a guy like him.
Right, exactly.
But I'm happy for him because, as Small says, he takes a lot of knocks and he had a lot of pressure on him through college, and not winning, he takes the brunt of the blame, it seems, which is not fair to him. So I hope he can
Double
take
more
that.
than any player ever.
No, I hope he can take that with a grain of salt and understand that this is a team game and he shouldn't feel that
Right.
pressure. And his best lacrosse will be when he's loose and he can play free and just be himself and play, and he'll be great because
I
he's
think he
great.
seems like a great teammate. I think he maybe,
Yeah.
the knock is that he might defer too much where they
Right.
want him to
Yeah,
go beast
yeah.
mode more. So he's got to learn how to throttle that, where to do what he has to do, but in the same time, use
But
his
he's done
teammates.
it. He's done it in college. When you double team, it's a team sport. What do you want him to go through 3-4 guys? He's the only guy in the history of the game that was doubled so many times right away where you got to feed the ball off. What do? These other players didn't come through. You can look at Brendan all you want, but look at the other players. He can't go through 3 guys. He just can't do it.
We have to see the season. I'm really interested now. Vinny's brought up a point that I never really thought of, like looking at the Archers defense. Is this going to be like, like one of those things like in the NFL where you start to see like, the whatever particular team, they don't have a good defense, points.
It could be.
Is that a result of that too? So, that's what's week to week you get to see, how these things play out. But, the Outlaws look for real, So the other team, I want to, move on to another game. The Atlas is undefeated now, they've won all their games. They
won one more game than they did all of last year already.
Right. And they look.
Teet's off to a record pace. He's got, I think, 22 points in 3 games.
They look really balanced. They look really strong in every area, and they look tough to beat. Like, in my opinion, they look very tough to beat. Vin, would you say, when you see the O'Neal team and that type of an attack, and then you look at Atlas and they have more of the feeding attack, playmaking attack, than maybe the Outlaws. Like, that's an interesting difference,
Yeah, a little bit of different style. Smaller guys, Teet, but really competent. Schellenberger, Xander Dixon, he's dangerous. Schellenberger and Dixon clearly have a connection, right? They played together in college. And, you throw Teet, I think you could throw Teet in anything, and he could play with anybody. He's just that kind of player. He's crafty, he's smart, he's highly skilled, very high IQ. They're tough. You got Baptiste at the X. I think he's leading the league in percentage. You got some teams, the strategy, not using face-off guys and all of that,
How about the middies? Doc Aiken. I mean, they got guys, Costabile. I mean, they are pretty stacked.
They got a strong team.
What is this, week 4? What week are we in?
We're going into week 4.
4 already. They only play 8 weeks. Am I correct?
Yeah, week 4, right?
Oh, no, wait. Week 3.
No, yeah, week 3. We're going into week
Yeah,
3.
we're going into week 3.
That's another odd. We'll go back to Atlas, but that's another odd thing. I wonder why the schedules, why they made. I knew this from week 1. I'm like, the Redwoods are not playing. They got 8 teams. You figure
Every
everybody-
team gets a every team gets a bye, and the team that is playing in the city that they're attached to, they play.
Right.
So
Oh,
New York is
all
considered
right.
Albany,
Okay, so that's
so they
why they
play.
did it. Okay, I
That's
get
how
it. All right. All right.
So I mean, look, it's fair for everybody. Everybody's got to suck it up and play 2 games on one weekend.
Right.
That's why I thought Chaos. This week was Chaos's turn to play 2 games without Blaze on top of it, and that's why I really didn't think they could. I'm sure they were hoping for a sweep, but they split. Not easy to play 2 games like that when one team is rested up. And you're going, into it. That's why that Atlas winning the 2 games that first weekend, that gave an edge. So, but you're scratching the surface with some teams. There's a lot of guys who haven't even played in games yet. Redwoods only played 1 game. I think they have Chris Gray. He didn't play in the first game. He'll probably go into the lineup for the next one.
What do you make of the Enterman situation?
I don't know. I guess, I think eventually he'll move into the spot. The other guy who's been starting has been Troutner, right? He's been starting.
Yeah.
He's on Atlas Enterman, right?
Yeah.
So, look, it's good to have those 2 guys. Troutner's had some great minutes playing in this league. He has, but,
Are you surprised he hasn't played at all? I mean, he hasn't even gotten in like a half.
Well, I don't even think he suited up the first week.
Right.
So, I mean, look, they were coming off the championship, the whole thing, let them get ready to play, I think. I think goalie is a little different than any other position on the field. I think, I'd let this guy get in a few practices with the team, understand how the defense plays. I think an offensive guy you could plug in easier than maybe a goalie. But he'll be fine, I'm sure. Look, they're building Troutner's confidence. If ultimately Enterman becomes the starter, Troutner's getting good minutes that if they have to put him in, in relief or whatever, listen, it's just good to build depth. But, I wouldn't worry about how he's going to do. Some of the other guys who came in, you got watching the Boston game, they're running Pat Kavanaugh out of the box. He's adjusted pretty well to that. I think he had a multiple point game the other night. They won a good game. They're trying to figure it out. They got Nolting feeding behind. I think
that if we want to move on to that, I don't know. I'm trying. I know it's difficult when you start having all of these guys and they're not like natural middies and you're using attackmen as midfielders and that. I know it's working out right now with Nolting behind. He had a lot of assists, but I think Pat Kavanaugh has to be on the attack, to be honest. I think he's a greater effect, and I'll say it this way because I think of O'Neill the same way of being on the attack. These guys, O'Neill's a little different. When stuff is breaking down and a broken clear or something and it's loose and you throw it to O'Neill, he's on the field already to shoot rockets. And that's what Kavanaugh causes. He causes the turnovers. He rides. He makes those plays in the middle that if he's in the box running off the field, he can't make. I think that takes away from his game. I still think he'll be great. He'll still be great doing what he's doing, but I like him on the field because he causes havoc.
Let's see where it goes. Give him one more game. Give him one more game. See what he does.
Like I said, these coaches, they're trying to figure it out themselves. The one thing I'm definitely a fan of the PLL, and I'm happy for the league. And Smalls and I saw Paul Rabel at the USA Lacrosse Gala last week, and I told him that I'm glad for all he's done and what he continues to do. But I didn't have a conversation about the play. But I will say this, watching some of the games, to me, they're just like these coaches are trying to figure it out. The league is trying to figure it out, what's most effective. And I think that, they tinkered with it, however many years the league is going at this point. they shot clock changes, face-off rules, all of that kind of stuff. I think, the speed of the game, I think they like the speed, but it's leading to a lot of turnovers. The games have become very sloppy at times, that nobody really gets a possession. You're just coming down, you got very, very little time. God bless you, Smalls. And I thought that the game does get a little helter-skelter. It's the same as what I said to Matty Palin in our last broadcast. The shot clock problems they were having and all. I think as a sports fan in general, I know for sports I don't really know, but I will tune in to watch. I like to see content. I like to see the game go on. I like to see continuity. I like to see play. I don't like that refs are blowing a whistle and stopping things every 10 seconds for something. That annoys me. That makes me say, I don't want to watch this,
The thing that you can also see, and I think I had told this to Smalley at one point, especially defensively, when these college teams are playing, and they have their defensive schemes, they are totally in tune, like it's seamless because they're practicing every day. And you can see some mistakes probably from not practicing all the time, like when these guys are not playing every single day, and then some of them have just been thrown in a game. Guy comes off a college season, throws them in with two guys he never even played with. It takes a little bit of time to build that chemistry, and it's even harder to do it on the offensive end if you think about it. That's even harder to figure out.
Let me jump in here, Steve. Let me just. The whole thing is, as a fan, you want to talk as a fan watching the game, how you're going to grow the game. It can't be boring. Like one of the things Vinny said, they're slowing it, they're blowing a whistle. It can't be boring. You have a hard time getting viewership as it is. You got to make it fun. You got to have gimmicks. He's great like that. I give Rabel a lot of credit. He needs a lot of help. Maybe these guys all have to have nicknames. You want to sell jerseys? Come up with nicknames like the WWF. I know you're going to laugh, Vinny. You got to come up with stuff that's fun. Fun.
He should hire you as the nickname giver.
You're the best.
You're a good nickname giver.
How about Andre the Giant?
Steven, we went to the lacrosse gala. He was the most famous guy in the room. Everybody recognized him.
This is what I hear. Is this true?
He was taking pictures. He was going table to table. He was giving all kinds of guys nicknames. Oh, forget it.
People were going up to him wanting selfies?
I'm a lot nicer than that.
He was with Coach Corrigan, giving him advice for next year. He told him how to win to get a three-peat. Oh, forget it. It was
but Vinny's having a lot of fun. I granted that, but the biggest thing in this game is ego. All these guys have to check their ego at the door. Even referees, I saw them, but I don't want to get on them because they're great. Nobody should be on them. Ego. Ref the game. Don't blow the whistle every second. Coaches, coach the game. It's not about you. Players play. We forgot all that. I see a lot of parents and people yelling and screaming at the refs. It's all, it's insane. It's insane.
Where at the PLL games, the parents are yelling?
You got to make it fun, man. You got to make it more fun. I'd have a 4-point play. I'd have a guy, if he could do a jump in the air, twist, turn, and score.
No, that's the gimmicky part I don't like.
Right.
Those are the things I don't go for.
I agree, but something's got to change to grow the viewership. You're not bringing women in to watch the game. You don't have women watching the PLL game. It's all a bunch of guys. Oh, look at me. You need more people, and you got to grow it. I don't have the answers. I hope other people can have it. How are you going to bring women into the game to grow it?
Well, they do. They do have a women's professional league,
Okay. And you watch it. You haven't watched one play in 28 years of the game, Vinny. I love you dearly. I mean, and you should. You got nice hair. They'd be like, who's the guy with the hair watching the game, Give a little time to the girl.
Viewing habits.
Oh,
right.
God.
Well,
viewership is everything.
I don't understand. Why do you? But what makes you feel that the viewership is bad?
It's terrible. Because
how would you know?
You're not bringing women into the game.
I think the viewership is actually growing. But what I'm
I
saying,
think so too.
they're like I said, tinkering to find that right product. That ultimately, look, at the end of the day, right? He's doing his best to make it a where
Oh, he's
guys
great.
where guys could actually make a living with the lacrosse, right? But I don't know what the percentage of every player who's playing in the
Well, you should
PFL.
know, Vinny. You should know.
Okay. I don't know how many guys are making a living playing lacrosse as opposed to have other jobs, full-time jobs somewhere else. I guess I could call them all Smalls and I could ask them.
Well, start getting on the phone.
Is that what you want me to
Do
do?
something
All right, I'll call the whole league and I'll find out.
No, but I'm just saying,
My
listen.
my point is, you're still not a sport where you're like in college, you're practicing. If you got one game a week, you're practicing every day before that game. Here, you're practicing one day before the game. You're flying in, you're practicing.
Right.
Maybe you watch a little film on a team because they could do that today. We didn't even have that when we were playing the MLL. And you're practicing one day and you're playing a game. So you have the best guys to play the game, but they only get to do it together for like one. They do a little training camp before the season and all.
Are they interacting with people?
But what I'm saying, it's much hard from a coaching standpoint. How much better this game might look if you had these guys all week to coach and really set game plans and all. So look, they're doing the very best they can, given the circumstances. There's probably, I would venture a guess to say, and probably be right, that there's more guys who play in this now that actually make a living with lacrosse than ever before. A lot of these guys.
When you say make a living, you're talking about, okay, they have a college.
How much do they make, Vinny? Tell the viewers. Do they make 10 grand, 50 grand? What do they make?
I don't know I don't know the PLL salaries, what they are, but I'm saying, I'm not talking about the PLL salary as the thing that's carrying them as a full-time job.
They're just involved in lacrosse.
Especially if you only got to go one day a week. But a lot of these
here
guys.
she is, the goat.
The
goat is here. Hello, hello, the boys.
Here we go.
Ready, the goat's here. Say hello to the goat.
Hi,
Cheryl is
Cheryl.
alive and well.
I just got done working out.
Yeah, right.
Good. Cheryl's on.
You have to take him with you.
Guest
Oh, my
appearance.
God. I need to lose a few pounds. You're right. I mean,
a few.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
anyway, what I wanted to say as far as growing the game,
All right, bye guys.
which
Bye,
is really,
Cheryl.
which is really important, growing the game. I'll come up with one. You talk about Rabel? The guy's phenomenal, what he's doing. Absolutely phenomenal. I got a nickname. He's the Prince. The Prince of Lacrosse. That's who he is. I got one nickname for the guy. The Prince. The guy's great. What he does, he comes in. I tell you, the guy, I tell you, I give him so much credit.
That's not one of your better efforts. That's not one of your better nicknames.
I got the Prince. He comes in like the Prince.
He's higher than a prince. He's you got a little more than that. But anyway,
like Matisse. You
look,
take a guy.
I think the season is off to a start where I did look at U.S. Lacrosse today. They did, one of the guys, they did their own rankings, how they see teams right now. And it's funny, they had the Archers down at like number 7, and which leads us to the next comment that I know you wanted to talk about. What's the story with the Whip Snakes?
Yeah.
They ranked as number 8.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because listen, they're the original, they're like the Green Bay Packers, they win the first couple of years, they pretty much dominated the league. But
didn't the kid from Maryland play on the team?
A lot of the Maryland guys, but they're getting older, and some of them are out. Earhart isn't on the team anymore, and one other guy moved to the other team, the defenseman.
Wait, what do you mean he's retired, Benny? You were 46 years old playing in this league. Oh, you were 40. How old was
he? He retired.
How old is he?
I don't know, but he had enough. He's mid-30s, I guess.
Is that the Chaminade defenseman?
The big guy.
It's listen, to not many guys go as far as Vinny went. Let's face it.
He's done it all. Listen, World Games, 2 gold medals, MVP of the World Games. He's national championship, Summer League at Caniac with his, Chili Willie's team. He's done it all. So, listen, he's moved on to his career, I guess. Focus on his career. I don't know if he got married, if that kind of stuff.
As Chris Kane would say, grow up.
Exactly. Not everybody can be
You guys
Peter
have
Pan.
never grown up.
Right?
But look, they definitely look like they got some age on them. They definitely struggled. They got down, I think, 10-1 in a game or something.
Wow.
They did come back in that game. They actually were within a 2-point shot. Channy shot them, Mike Chanichuk. He shot them back into the game with a couple twos in a row. Almost hit a third one that day. But the other team held them off. I think that was
these next few weeks are going to be really critical for them.
Yeah.
Whether they're really shot or not.
Well, they might go into the player pool. They might need some help from the player pool. Like as teams start to shake out, like, maybe Wisnauskas. He's a Maryland guy, right? That would be a thing. I might make a phone call for a trade and say, you got too many lefties. Give me Wisnauskas, instead of letting him sit on the bench. Or come out of the box. He's too valuable, not only to a team, but to the league. He should be showcased. I didn't see, what's his name? Maybe he's got a commitment with the military. Nick Turn. That's smart.
Oh, Nick Turn, I love the Nick Turn family.
Vin, that's a great point. Think about all the guys. Gotterding. Where's Gotterding?
No, that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of guys that are like out.
Look, there's top guy Will Manny got released. There's other guys that got released. There's not a lot of room. I follow some of the sites, and they're saying they need expansion. You could definitely put at least 2-3 more teams together.
Yeah, but then the level goes down.
They're watching
a little bit more.
They're doing what they can. I mean, look, I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
It's given them a few things. It's given guys an opportunity to play at a very high level, make some money, right? Get some exposure. Maybe it helps them with other things in life, with jobs and things like that too. But for the most part, it's still a balancing act because it's still not enough money. And you got these guys, listen, Joe Tsai and some of the other money guys that came into this thing. There's many more. His name always pops up because he's involved in indoor, outdoor, world games. He's been very generous to the lacrosse community. They're funding this thing and carrying it maybe, whether it makes money or not. They want to
It's not making money. It can't make money.
No, well, they make it not. Like I said, they're seeing it through, and they're giving Paul a lot of rope to make it happen. And the guy is not. It's not like he's like, we put this thing together. We took it from MLL to the next step and try to, clearly look. The MLL was a great product. It was the best of the best there, and the MLL was great. But the difference between MLL and PLL is they've adapted in terms of rules and things like that. And the television, the way they shoot the game is even better. But social media has been the whole big difference for this PLL compared to the MLL. There was
the other big difference, I think, and I don't think they should go away from this model, is what he's kind of doing with the tour model, the WWF, city to city, to travel around city to city. That's the biggest difference. If these teams went to these home cities and they had to play 8 games in California, I don't think it would work as good as how he's doing it. I think this is the way to do it. I think it's the best way. It gears up the city to say they're coming, and some places
what
might
are they
be
doing
more
it for
challenging.
though? What are they really doing it for? Why is there a pro league even? Why are they doing it?
Because you want to see the best of the best play. You don't want to not see them play. This is the best of the best.
Their intent is to spread the game, give opportunity to players to play beyond college. And I think they want, for young kids to aspire to something, get at the highest level. It's giving them.
Remember what they used to say about hockey. Hockey, they started with 7 teams, and it was 7 teams for like 60 years.
Yeah.
And then it became what it became. So, it's still basically in its infancy stages of trying to grow. There's a lot of competition, but maybe one day it'll get there.
Can you clowns ice skate? You claim to be the greatest athletes. Can you guys ice skate? I've never
So
seen you guys.
I'll start with answering your question. When did I claim to be the greatest athlete? Here he goes again, right away.
I asked you if you ice skate.
Making statements again.
Can you
Yes.
ice skate?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The answer is no. You're not athletes.
I use figure
Get to the-
skates, but I can't skate. Does that count? I use figure skates.
Oh boy. Here we go.
So
Oh,
we had
man.
an audience. We had an audience question. This came in. This is like a 4-part question. So, and we'll see what you guys could answer. What's been the greatest impact over the past 50 years in lacrosse? The plastic head and the innovation of equipment, the Smalley's own Levittown legend, like a Coach Tierney, developing the defenses and leading to more and backside offenses and developing the offenses and defenses? Was it the integration of the Canadian style box into the game, into the field game, such as the Gates coming and expanding? Now there's more Canadians than ever playing in college. Or is it something different?
That's easy. I'll go. That's easy. It's got to be Tierney from Levittown. I mean, he went to Princeton. He wins 4. A Levittown grungy guy. I love it, baby. And
He won 6. He won 6.
He won 6, but 4 in a row. But he goes into Maryland.
4 in a row.
Yeah, for 4 in a row.
What was it in a row?
3.
Okay, so then this new team, Notre Dame's going to 3-peat. But think about it. A Levittown guy, and they named the field after him in Maryland. Isn't it called Bill Tierney Field, or am I wrong?
You're right.
A field after a Levittown guy. I can't believe it. He's an icon. How many's he got? 6 or 8? What's he got total?
6.
7.
Did he win one for
7.
Denver?
I'm sorry.
7 with
Yeah,
that.
You want to steal one from my boy? 17 from Levittown.
So I'll give you my answer on that. I will say the biggest impact is the equipment. The equipment made, let's put it this way. You see all these kids that are playing today, and you could go down to like 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade, and kids have skill levels already. With those wooden sticks back in the day, let's say let's take away all the equipment right now and go back to late 70s equipment, say early 70s to mid 70s equipment, pre-plastic heads and all of that. Do you know how many kids would get frustrated and give up playing the game because it took forever to break in a stick or even learn to catch and throw? How hard it was? So the frustration level to say, the hell with this sport, I'll play something else, I'll go back to baseball, because it was very difficult.
The stick was great,
to
baby.
get
You're right.
the skill of them, Bobby Rule, one of the original inventors of the plastic head and the whole bit, that was a great innovation. And like I said, I mean, how many times guys we played with, Steven, there were guys who actually would string up a new stick before every game.
Right.
With a different stick,
I'm going to give you a different side of this argument, because you're making an interesting point, but I'm going to flip that point around. Because do you think that has made a bigger separation between very good players, which actually makes less really good players, and guys who would maybe want to be in the game and was an athlete, but because the skill level gets so much better, so much quicker, and they feel they can't achieve that, now you see why there's some like really good teams, and then there's like some stinky teams. High schools never seemed like that. Maybe when it was harder to get really good fast, everybody could really participate decently, and the athletes, could feel like, well, I can really help out in this.
Maybe. There were definitely guys, even with wooden sticks. I remember when we first moved to Port Washington, and I never even saw a lacrosse stick. And then, never heard of never even heard of the sport. And then when I started playing, I was amazed. We had, Barry Cohen, Roger Sexauer, Riley, you guys I played with that already had a few years in, and it was the wooden stick era. And Roger especially, and Barry was very good too, but Roger was like a magician with a stick. I mean, there were very few kids that age that were close to, even college guys. I don't think had as good a stick as that guy. He was unbelievable with a stick. But yeah, I could see what you're saying is that maybe. But I think when you also got a whole different aspect is that the game was, much more physical. You go back those years when you're playing with wooden sticks, you had one turf field in the whole country guys were playing on, Hofstra, right? You're playing on grass where there's a lot more ground balls in the game because the ball don't go out of bounds. You miss a pass, the ball stays in. Now guys are fighting for the ball. Guys are not great at scooping the ball. So they're getting chopped up, So it was like, only the strong survived, It was kind of like
1971, the first stick came out, STX. 1971, the stick came out. And Brooks Sweet, who worked for STX, or was it Brian? I believe it was STX at the time, actually had one of the first sticks, plastic sticks ever, if I'm not correct on that.
No, I don't think Brooksy. I think there was a lot of guys before him because he was young. He was in grammar school still in 71 or whatever. He's not that old. But because I remember when I was in like 8th grade, going into 9th grade, that was just when the plastic heads started coming out.
68 years.
That was 73 that the plastic heads were coming out. So he was still relatively young too, And I don't know how many guys could afford plastic sticks or had an ability to get plastic
stole mine.
sticks.
A big fight, Levittown Division in Mineola. And Rogers ran after me, the little worm Rogers. I stole a stick. There was a huge fight. We were taking sticks and we ran with them. And they were chasing me. So that was my first stick I got.
What's funny about the equipment, just to show you how outdated, we technically are. A lot of the guys, as we build our audience and in Instagram and in the podcast world, you see other guys out there, obviously guys younger than us. And I saw guys, got a shipment of equipment and they were looking at the equipment and they were like putting it on and they're like, oh my God, like it was like alien, like how could you play with this? And I was like, what's that from? 2005, it was like crazy. It's like
crazy, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like that, they looked at that like it was bad. Imagine if they went back to like the Postel days.
No, forget it. No, you're talking about guys. There wasn't even like lacrosse specific gloves. When I was playing, a lot of guys were wearing hockey gloves, which were heavy as could be, had metal thumbs.
Yeah.
You barely could feel the stick. It was sliding between,
Well, what about that picture of Dougie where they were so bad? This is when you get your fingers smashed, where he literally got the whole fingers are out of the glove. He's getting his fingers smashed because he can't really feel comfortable using the glove.
Marniello was the first guy to lose half his thumb because he cut it out and he got chopped. Piece of his thumb is chopped off. Piece of his thumb is chopped.
Well, listen, almost everybody back then has got some stitches from their fingers from getting their fingers smashed. And also where the helmet, the face, used to only come down. Almost everybody's got that scar under the chin strap where guys got hit on the chin. Right. There's a lot of guys my age with that same scar. It's funny, but you got hit under there, So
you got to remember that.
But yeah, look, to your point, yes. There are different guys. You can go back to like a Howdy Myers, who, when he was coaching at Hofstra, he was one of the first guys instituted a zone defense. He was known for the zone, and it was effective. Because not everybody had great stick skills, so you had some weak guys in there. You'd leave them a little more open, maybe. Then that everybody started getting better. Now the zone wasn't.
Who was the coach? Howdy Doody.
His name was Howdy Myers. He was from down south, but
Howdy Myers.
He coached at Hofstra football and lacrosse, and he's a legendary coach. Yeah, Howdy was a legendary coach, but he was an innovator to some extent. And then the zone defense goes away, and then all of a sudden it comes back. You have a great stopper like in Carolina. They started using the zone a lot when they had Sears in the goal. You know, they played a zone at more, maybe more in 82 than 81, because I remember that game was a real slow down game, low scoring national championship game. The first one was high scoring when they won in 81. 82 was a much lower scoring game, and they seemed to hold the ball a lot, and because of the zone, it just was getting passed on the outside. So, you know, you see teams still throw a wrinkle in with the zone today now and then to try to slow teams down, but yes, do the different coaching styles change things? Yeah, they did. Tierney was famous. Princeton was known for, playing that defense where they turned their bodies sideways and told you, go down the alley.
Early
We'll allow you
slide.
to go there. And they'd
Right.
slide, and they dictated to you where they were allowing you to throw the ball. And that was effective until, then, like I said, as guys progress and now you got guys who are stretch shooters and everything else, then maybe it doesn't work as well, but those are adjustments. Those are coaching adjustments that you can make. But at the end of
coaching is beyond
at the end
me.
of the day, yeah, he's in the league. But at the end of the day,
Unbelievable.
what's funny about the sport is there are still key elements to the sport that go 70 years back. Who can pick up the ground balls, right? Who can get some face-offs? Who can, there's certain
Goalies and save, get
who can
saved.
do right? Who the give and go is still one of the best plays, not only in lacrosse and basketball. You don't see it often anymore in basketball. Teams fall in love with styles, and right now lacrosse, the style is specialists. Whether you're a midfielder, long stick, you got all these guys that are specialists. To me, the game was more fun when you had to play more aspects of the game. I wouldn't have liked being a specialist. It wasn't for me. But I always say, if I'm coaching and I'm outmanned, right, I try to find ways to win the game. Not try to do what the other team's good at and emulate it and say, well, we got to try to do it as good as them. I got to say, you know what? I got to take them out of what they do. If that's their comfort level to get these guys on and off, let's try to keep them on. Let's get their offensive guys. Let's take advantage of scoring when they're trying to get off the field. But I have to tell you, these guys, it's not easy because these guys are so proficient at getting on and off the field today. It's really not easy to get these breaks. It's
Really,
not.
they don't listen today. They do what they want to do. They don't listen like they used to. They don't.
No, I think they listen.
They don't listen.
I think they listen. I think one thing that's a constant is you have some guys who pick things up fast and they're very coachable, and a coach can instill it in them and they'll get it. And there's other guys.
So you're saying you could go somewhere? You're saying you'd be a good coach? You could go somewhere and coach?
I'm not. I think I could be a good coach, but I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that I know one thing: I can grasp things quickly. If I was playing and a coach said, "This is what I want you to do," I could grasp it and do it. Not all guys can do that. They revert back to what.
You're about
is in their head.
versatility in the game. You could do more things in the. I got you.
Not just me. There's a lot of guys. And it's not even more versatility. It's an ability to listen and hear what a guy's telling you and translate it onto the field. That's all. How many times you see, I love, they go, call a timeout. We go to a million games. I hear guys say, call a timeout. We know sometimes better than the coach, like when to call a timeout, right? And the coach gets it and you say, oh, good timeout. And now they get together. They got an offensive huddle, a defensive huddle. Oh, then I'm watching the offensive guy, and they're going. He brings his 6 guys he wants on the field. He's giving them a play. We're going to start the ball over here. I want it to get behind. I want to hear. You're going to set a pick. You're going to do that. The whistle blows. The first guy throws it out of bounds.
Right.
The other team plays the guy hard.
Why can't the guy have audio in his ear? If I'm on the sideline with a computer, is this where we're getting at? Can people
listen, I said that long ago. Richie Moran told me he tried it once. I don't think they said it wasn't allowed because, they gave him an advantage. Like I always said, the next phase of lacrosse is to have a guy up in the box.
That's what I'm saying.
Like football. No, like calling down stuff. We said this last time. I said this about Tillman. I said he looks at it at the iPad, but when you have an overhead view, as a guy who might understand, you put a guy who really understands the game up there, and he's watching with an overhead view. Sometimes a guy with an overhead view can see something better than a guy who's at ground level.
Exactly.
You know,
So why don't they have it?
I don't know. Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming.
I mean,
That'll be the next.
I don't think there's a rule against that, but listen, I still like the aspects of the game that let players be players and problem solve and figure things out on your own. I think that's I think some parts of the specialization turn guys into robots. They become one trick
Yeah,
ponies and
yeah.
that, which I don't like, because I do like to see the various things guys thinking on the fly, and I think I think more dramatic plays come of that. Different things happen, and it makes the
What's a
game
one-trick
overall more
pony?
exciting.
Well,
Well, a
like
guy who comes out of the box and just plays offense, and then when the ball's turned over, he runs right to the box to go off the field. That's a one-trick pony. How about staying on the field and riding? Get next to your guy. Maybe they turn the ball over. You get it back on offense. You didn't even have to go to the box. Different things you can do. You gotta play the whole
Well,
game.
the other thing is, Stephen, you got more variance in that regard too now because, and I'm 10 years older than you, but when I was coming up, there was no such, there was no box lacrosse. So there's guys who did crossover and played box too growing up, and so you pick up something from that, and then now you got the sixes the way they're playing with no fair out of the cage. It's like playing basketball
Right.
with a lacrosse stick.
Hey,
It's
Vinny, there
just
was box
smashing up.
lacrosse in Canada, though. I mean, not
Yeah,
here
no,
anymore.
I know that. I know, but I'm saying
They didn't have it
from the
here.
U.S. from the U.S. standpoint, there
Right.
weren't. The earliest Canadians. I mean, there probably are more that I'm aware of that people were aware of was like Mike French and some guys like that came in, Cockatoo, and then ultimately the Gates, and then the floodgates started to open. Because
Molina's over there now playing. The three boys are right now in Canada playing. I find
yeah,
that
it
very.
has they feel it has value for them. It adds something to them. It's going to
Yeah.
help them with their field game.
Definitely does.
We'll see. There's a
Oh no,
risk.
Vinny, there's usually value in that. That kid.
There's a risk. There's a risk reward with that too. Going up and playing, like I said, there's a burnout factor. You go up there, you might get beat up a little bit. Let's say a guy could get hurt. They play a lot. And how much
They are.
they'll sharpen their skills. They'll learn something different. Look, anytime you're doing anything in the sport, and there's another variant that you can learn, it's not a bad thing. But does it help? Yes. Everything was about
If this
Canadian.
kid comes back next year. Say the kid comes back next year.
Who's
and
that?
You see Spallina, and you see advanced skills in this kid because he's been going 2 or 3 years, and you say, "How is it?"
I don't think you're going to see his skills change much. He's at his highest level of his skills.
Yeah. I mean, he's not.
He's at his highest level. You think he's going to be able to shoot better?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I think
2 more years of growing. This kid's growing. He's young.
well, maybe he physically maybe something. But
I think physically he'll get a little better.
I think he's pretty peak performance right now. There's not many guys shoot better than him. Not many
He's
guys.
looking to get better, though, Vinny. I think.
Of course, everybody's looking to get better. What do you think? Every kid's trying to get better.
No, but I'm saying he's trying to do something about it. He's putting application in. He's working hard. His work ethic. I just think it will carry over. He's got 2 years left. I think it.
Well, hopefully he's got more than 2 years left because he's a kid who loves to play, and I think he has aspirations of PLL and all of that too. He likes to play. He's a guy that probably would look to make a living with lacrosse. So, he's going to stay involved. He has to stay involved if you're going to do it. But yeah, listen, he's been on that path since he's a little
And
kid.
the two boys, I think it'll help them too. The brothers who are looking to build their game. I mean, listen, you never know.
The other big news is Vin's in the lead of the picks.
Yeah, wow.
He's got a game lead on Smalley, and then Smalley's got 2-game lead on the Fans, and then unfortunately I'm in last place. So the fans get to when we get our picks in and we put them up, we put it up on the Instagram stories, and the fans get to pick, and they have they'll have the pick based on their majority of whatever teams they pick, and they're not doing so hot right now either. Right now,
Well,
they're
then that's,
3.5.
it's easy, right? They're picking stuff.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's
So,
not easy
so
with the spread,
No.
but
Right.
you have been. I'm reading it a little better lately, so I made a good comeback in our college thing to come in tied for first with you after being behind quite a few games, and now I started pretty good with this 2 weekends of 3-1. So we'll see
So
if I
now-
can.
so now what we're gonna do- we're gonna pick the games, because there's been a theory out there that Smalley's doing good because he's sitting out and waiting.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
waiting to see everything.
He waits.
This is what's-
He always picks last.
This
When
is
was
what's
the last
going
time-
on.
When was
So-
the last time you
Now
picked
you're
first?
picking on
Exactly.
the lowest point. I love it.
So now what we're gonna do this weekend? The games start on Saturday. The first
Right.
game, we have the Philadelphia Water Dogs playing the Boston Cannons, and the Water Dogs are a 1.5 favorite.
Oh wow.
All right, Smalls, who do you like?
Oh, that's a tough game. I can't. Oh God. I'll have just a goal and a half, right? Or 2.5. What is it?
1.5, 1.5.
I'll go with the Water Dogs.
All right, I'll go
That
second.
means they gotta win by 2 or
I got
3.
my Cannon shirt on. I'm a believer in my Kavanaughs, although I'd like to see Pat Kavanaugh more on attack. I'd like to at least see that, because he's got to cause some havoc down there. But I'm taking the Cannons plus the 1.5.
Cannon's getting a goal and a half.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good game. I'll take the 1.5. I'll take the Cannons with a 1.5.
Okay. The next game on that Saturday, wow, it seems to be a long stretch in between there, but 7:00, a night game. You have Archers
Okay.
minus a 1.5 against Chaos. Smalls, what say you?
Wow.
What is it? I mean, Chaos probably gonna whip their tail. That would be the Archers' first win, or what's the deal?
No, Archers won one game.
They're 1-1, 1-2, right?
1-1.
I'll go with Chaos. Getting what? A goal and a half, same thing.
1.5.
I'll go.
I'm
with
gonna
Chaos.
go. I'm gonna go with Archers. I'm gonna say they figure it out. I'm gonna say that they get over that bad loss to Denver and hopefully shake off that fourth quarter. I'll take Archers.
I'm not sure that Blaze is going to be back for the game. So not knowing that right now, I'll have to go with the Archers also, because I think if Blaze is out, I'm not picking on that goalie, but anybody in the cage after him is a drop off. He played fairly good at times in the last one, and he did have to play back to backs, but Blaze has been a big difference maker for that team over the years, and without him, I have
Actually,
to
you got to
go
win by
with
2 goals, really.
Yeah,
A 1.5. You got to win by 2 goals.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's
That's what it really. That's the point spread when you're looking at it.
yeah.
Now this one's even harder, because now you go to the next day, and you have the Atlas, who's been a team looking good. They're minus 2.5 over the Redwoods. 2.5 over the Redwoods.
Wait, who's favored? Who's favored?
Atlas
Is favored by 2.5.
2.5 over the Redwoods.
That's really hard, man. I'll go with the favorites on that one.
I'm going the favorite too. I'm going Atlas too. I feel
That means they got to win by 3 goals.
Yeah, but I think
That's
they
a
will.
lot of
I do
when
think
they,
they
when they
will.
do it. That's a lot of points.
It is, but I think they're going to do it.
I'm gonna go. I think Roll Woods. I think the Redwoods are gonna win this one
Okay.
outright.
All right. Ooh. Outright, you'd get the plus 180 on that odds line. And the last game of the weekend, the home team, because I think it's in Philly this week, the Water Dogs are minus 1.5 against the Whip Snakes. The Whip Snakes are getting a goal and a half.
Wait, who's getting 1.5? Who's favored?
The Whip Snakes are getting 1.5. Philadelphia's favored. Water Dogs.
I'm going Water Dogs. I don't like to do it. No way. Water Dogs. I'll go 4-0 this week and take over the lead.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a really tough one.
The difficulty I have with it is
Two
that
games.
they're playing 2 games, the Water Dogs, and that first game is going to be a tough game. So for them to play back to back and Whips in a desperate way for a win, getting what, 2.5?
Getting 1.5.
Well,
1.5.
1.5. Yeah, with 1.5, I got to go with the favorite in that one. I got to go.
I'm gonna try to make a move. I'm going for the Whip Snakes. I feel like their backs against the wall.
They stink.
They're gonna have to come through. He's letting his feelings known. I think I'm gonna go with the Whip Snakes. I got to see if they go to 0-3. That would be really, really a tough hill.
Well, the
to
game
climb.
start on Thursday, is it, or just always Friday?
Saturday and Sunday this week. Saturday and
Sunday.
It's a great week of lacrosse. The other thing is, for the fans, look for the Instagram stories. Get your votes in because it only lasts for 24 hours. This way you can, as the fans pick, we'll see where their minds are on these 4 spectacular games. And we'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll get one of our slated guests. We try to slot them in and figure when we can get them on. And
maybe we gotta take a poll as to who they want us to have on. We got some guys of our own some thoughts, but if the fans want to send something in, make it in the comments, whatever, who you want to hear from, we can get them. We paid big money to get these guests.
That's right.
So
Vinny, you can't get the Army coach. I know that. He won't answer for you.
I
can get him on. I get him on.
Okay.
I think you guys' credibility is.
Smalley could get him. Yeah, Smalley could get him because he's got family members that were generals from West Point.
Oh, thank you, Vinny, for giving me a compliment. Hey, Steven, I want you to play that little thing. Today, my, what do we call that? My hero? Or what? My hero today is the, what is it called again?
Shout out. You want
my
your shout out?
My shout out today is nothing other but the Army coach. And I have to give it to him. And in fact, I'm going out on the road here, and we'll have the people judge too, the fans. I'm going to go out. He's man of the year over all the other coaches. He's man of the year because that statement that he said, I love that, and I watch it all the time as a grown-up. That little thing, what is that thing he plays, Vinny, that I like? He has that famous speech.
Well, he talked about being kind to, young guys.
Can you pull it up for me on the thing and play it for the
now?
fans? Yeah, just one.
Maybe next time.
No, you can't get it now.
Oh, we got so much technology. You're the 2 greatest
We're in the
ever
middle of
played.
the show. Why didn't you say it before the show?
One more second out of your life.
You're
lucky you came on time.
Now he's attacking.
You were half hour to sign on. Now we're gonna find videos.
It came right your phone. I can find it in 2 seconds.
Oh, disaster. The master of disaster.
Who's your shout out, Vin? You want me to go?
My weekly shout out is to the
Balsamo.
Long Island Lacrosse, where we had Cold Spring Harbor, Southside, Bayport, Blue Point as state champs, and Farmingdale made it to the finals, had a tough loss in overtime, but had a great season, had lost some games early in the season, came back, was on a win streak, lost a tough one in overtime. Southside won a great one in overtime.
Right, Martello's the coach there, right?
Long Island Lacrosse. To all the head coaches and all friends of ours, there's too many to mention, but they all
Martello. Who's the head coach again, Vinny?
It was what's that?
The head coach of their team is what name?
DiPietro, whose son scored the winning goal in overtime, so it was a dream come true.
That's
amazing.
His son.
They scored with .8 seconds on the clock to tie the game. So they came back from 5 goals in the semis and in the finals. So it shows that they're a team that had a lot of grit. They never gave up hope in
Never
any
gave
game.
up.
And I think on the girls' side, there was a Long Island team. I'm sorry, I don't know which school it was. I think it's Sayville. I think they went 22-0, the girls, to win the state championship. You had Cold Spring Harbor girls who won the state championship.
Wow.
And so
And
for
the
Long
boys
Island,
won too. Didn't the boys win?
I said that before. Cold Spring Harbor. Yes, I
You
said
said the
the
girls
four.
won. Okay.
No, I said before. Cold Spring Harbor won the states. Dennis Bond. I think that was a three-peat for them. So Long Island lacrosse more than holding its own and still placing a lot of great players in college. On top of that, that's in the public school. Between St. Anthony's and Chaminade, you had another two great seasons. They battled each other. St. Anthony's got the best of them this year and won the 2 games that they played. But that rivalry is still going strong. And I think St. Anthony's finished, I think Chaminade finished top 20 in the country, or maybe just 1 or 2 outside of it, if that. I think it was top 20. But I'm pretty sure St. Anthony's finished 3rd in the country. So, you're talking about a lot of powerful teams coming from the island. So these travel teams, these high schools, they're doing a good job developing players. As much as some people think it's a little bit down, maybe, but, proof is in the pudding with who's still winning. So
You do see a lot of Long Island flavor on all of these championship teams when it gets to college every year, Final Four.
And we
You see
still
them
got to
all
give it up.
night.
Maybe you're going to give the shot. I don't know if we gave the shout out last time to Adelphi with Gordy. We did that already.
Morty
Right?
Purdy, give a shout out, my man.
We can give him another one. I heard they cut his ponytail off.
Oh boy!
That was the added incentive. They cut off his ponytail. He's trying to find Coach Alberici, this guy. I know him like a book. He's searching the internet right now. There he goes. Look, he's hitting things. All right, Smalls, we're going to wrap it because Steven's got to go to practice.
All right, let me just one
We're
more
getting
second.
ready. We're getting ready. Big weekend. Lax Fest. We got Darren Lowe coming in this weekend.
Oh, yeah, Darren Lowe, Hall of Famer, good friend of the show.
I'm going to give my shout out to Darren Lowe, who's heading up. We're going to run into him. It's going to be great to see him. I haven't seen him in ages. And looking forward to seeing his son playing. We got some games during the weekend. We got Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. This weekend, enjoy the tournaments, enjoy the games, the barbecues. It's going to be a great weekend. All right, Smalls, we're signing off.
Oh, good. God is great. God is great. Ali Akbar. Hold on, guys. Guys, 1 second of your lives. It would never change anything you do. Hold on, I found something. I'm very, very happy. Hold on, it's Coach Alberici.
His phone, third hand.
Oh, these guys are really went back now. Hey, Jesus, now, folks.
Let's see. Does he have it? I did the laugh track.
It's a laugh track.
If I did this track, maybe he'd find it.
Here it is. What's up? I got it coming, guys. Give me a second. Coach Alberici. Coming, guys. Give me a chance. Here it is.
And you want to be my latex salesman. Can you imagine this guy coaching in a huddle when he's under pressure to make a call? He'd be looking at his phone, calling, looking up in the stands. How are you going to coach?
I got a chance to see that Army lacrosse team this past year. 102-year history, 8 national championships in it. There's never been a team that's won more games in a single season than that group did this past year. And they were tough. They were tough. And that's the challenge I'm throwing down to you guys, is to be tough guys. Right? To be tough guy. Let me define and tell you what I mean by tough. Okay, what I mean by tough. Tough isn't, the Army team isn't out there hitting people, knocking people down, and that's showing how tough we are. That happens. Okay, that happens. Why I think our guys are so tough is they give 100% of the time. They give their greatest effort all of the time. Whether I'm there watching them or yelling at them, or they're just doing a drill on their own, they're giving their greatest effort. That's why they got a chance to come to the greatest.
All right, guys, thank you.
Look, now he's off to the next thing. Oh,
Massive disaster. That's not the clip he's looking for. I know the clip he's looking for.
Exactly.
We'll have it next time. Get
We'll
him
have
more
it next
prepared.
time.
One more second. Here it is.
No, that's
It's on.
enough. You didn't have the
It's
phone
enough.
up around.
It's enough.
We can't even see it.
I'm gonna pull it up next time. Small.
You can't see it.
You can't see
Next
it.
time.
1 second.
This is how they do things.
Come on.
That's exactly.
Put a pack of cigarettes in your shoulder and roll it up and call it a day.
All right, till next week. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.